Okay, there you go. That's so invasive when it does that. Okay, so did you write a script or how did you do your video script stuff? Are you just gonna talk?
I wrote a script out. I'm just not really happy with it.
Okay, well, do you want to start by just reading it and we'll see where you're at for that?
Okay. Hello, I have served 6 years in the US Navy as an information systems technician, and I have an active top secret security clearance. I am currently studying for Security Plus exam. What makes me a team player is that I'm flexible, an active listener, and dedicated to getting the job done. I'm hoping to join an information technology team in a tech support position. I feel I'm a good candidate for this position due to my work ethic and experience. Thank you for your consideration.
It's not bad. It's really standard. I don't think your personality shines through in it. So what if you start off by saying something about how you are an avid runner and through running you have learned to face obstacles head on, right? You don't shy away from a challenge. You know how to set goals. Let me know Haley a little bit first.
Okay.
You could even joke about your accent if you want,
I don't know. I don't think I'm in the right headspace for this, to be honest. I'm just not sure what is expected of me out of this video. I think that's where I'm at.
Okay, well, can you just tell me a little bit about what you enjoy with running and what you are enjoying from learning this, in all of your, tech stuff? Just tell me a little bit about what you're doing right now. Okay, so no, it's fine. Okay, so answer this question. So, Haley, what is it that you love most about running?
I love the challenge of running. I love it's a motivational tool for me to get up and go every day. And I love the challenge of completing the miles, getting the work done.
Do you see that there's a correlation between your running and your time in the military or technology or facing any challenges?
Running definitely helps me overcome challenges.
Tell me more. What challenge have you faced that you feel you utilized your determination you've learned in running?
See, this is why I'm not in the right headspace. It's not, I don't know. Maybe my video is okay.
That's fine. Don't worry about it. You've got lots of stuff going on. This is, we can try again another time. Or if you're happy with what you have, then.
Okay. How about I'll try a different script for next time?
Okay.
I'll be more prepared for questions. I get what you're saying, to just get more of my personality into it. I need to work it. I think if I work at it by myself and then come back to you, I'll be like, hey, this is what I have, and show it to you, and it'll be better. It's just motivation for me that you're waiting on it. It makes me want to actually work on it, except instead of dragging my feet about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard thing to do. So we know you're in the military. So I would start off with something that you're passionate about, like running. And that's very easy to equate to challenges and, the challenges you face working in the technology field, and then back it up with your time in the military. So that should be really what you're tacking on last, because if they, we appreciate what you've done for our country, but that's not the main reason they're hiring you.
Yes.
That's just icing on the cake, all those leadership skills that you bring from your time in the military.
I'm taking notes is what I'm doing right now. Yeah, I understand.
Oh. Did you get your ticket figured out to go home?
The body is having an autopsy done right now, and the body's not going to be released for about 2 weeks. So there's no date yet for me to plan by.
Okay.
There's no date. So I don't know when the funeral is going to be. So when I can take leave.
Okay. If you haven't, I know this is a personal question, but is going back going to be a good experience for you?
I think so. I haven't seen my family in 12 years, so
yeah,
it'll be good. And I can still, I'll bring my laptop with me and stuff, so I can still come on the cohort. I won't miss out on work on that.
Okay. Yeah, you can always just listen to the, rewatch the videos later. But okay, I'm going to start letting other people in. But if you need anything while you're gone, you can definitely connect and, let me know what you need.
Okay. Were you able to see my resume?
Let me pull it up. It's been crazy. You dropped it in the file, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Good. And they'll get it updated. Move all my screens. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good
morning, Brenda.
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yo, Brandon, what an awesome sweater.
Didn't everybody see the email? Ugly Christmas sweater day today?
I have been wearing an ugly Christmas sweater almost every day.
I have not checked my emails today.
No, I did not. I should have done that. That would have been very smart. That would have been awesome.
I'm feeling professional.
I love it. That is awesome. I told Jordy I need a new shirt because mine is like 3 sizes too big. No, I still wear it. I still sport it. It's actually on the back of my chair. For when I have to have meetings, I can switch into my professional shirt. I need like a blazer with the emblem. That would be totally cool. I feel like I went to some prep school or something. Can you guys believe it is Thursday? I was gonna say it's Friday. It's definitely Thursday. Hi, baby.
Anybody traveling for Christmas? No. We're going to try and take off for Missouri today, but just a word to everybody, anybody getting ready to try and go into that Arctic front, keep an eye on it. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's my in-laws live in Montana, up there pretty close to Thomas. And this is the coldest they've ever had, and they've lived up there for 20 something years.
Denver, I saw last night, Denver, which is not too far away, set the record in the quickest drop in temperature ever recorded.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I know
Yeah, you guys
OKC
can
is
keep
supposed to
that.
get down to like, well, it's everything's gonna get down to around 0, but with those like 30 to 50 mile an hour winds, it's supposed to be like wind chills and -20s and just crazy temperature. They're talking about if the roads were wet, you know, as soon as that front hits it, it's just gonna flash freeze.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. Look at my mug, where my hand, like my handle. It's a heart.
Love it.
Makes me happy every time I drink from it. Ah, I don't want the cold. I know I talk about that every day. I'm just not a cold weather person.
I like it during Christmas time, but you know, down here in Texas, if it goes longer than a week, yeah, we struggle.
Yeah. So you guys driving, Brandon?
We are. So all throughout today, I'm just gonna keep an eye on the weather. And if it's already hit the area, because we can either go through Oklahoma or go through Arkansas. We're looking at Arkansas as long as the front hasn't hit that. But if it already has and they're getting like a foot of snow and stuff like that, we may have to push it till tomorrow when they
Yeah.
get the roads back open.
Okay, well, everybody who is driving, make sure you're staying safe. So if you look at the calendar for next week, it is uploaded on the cohort website. So it shows just the Wednesday and Thursday. So I will send out a reminder email. But I know I also have not updated everybody's emails in our system, so just, set a reminder on your phone or however you guys do things in life. I'm all about the reminders. Has anybody downloaded those apps that Jordana was talking about? Like for productivity?
I checked them out, but they all had like really bad reviews, so I never like actually used it.
No. We use one at work. My team does. I'm not very good at using it, but it's essentially just like sticky notes that you can stick on things.
That's kind of what it looked like. It just kind of seemed like little reminders.
Mhm. JP really loves it. And so it helps him stay organized, and I'll get in there sometimes and do things, but I'm sure if I had an app on my phone, I'd probably be better at it.
I'm just better with like physical sticky notes, just sticking them like around my monitor and stuff like that.
Yeah, I have my notebook that I write everything in, and then I have my random sheets of paper.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a pack rat, but I have to be careful because I should just have like a binder. That would probably be really good. But oh well, every time I get organized, I'm like that for a couple months and then I just lose whatever I'm organized, whatever I did. Can't commit. But awesome. Okay, we have most everybody. How's everybody doing this morning? Good. Okay. We're gonna take a group picture today, not in Christmas sweaters, even though now I feel like I should just have everybody go put on Christmas sweaters, but I know not everybody celebrates Christmas. So I don't know if everybody has a Christmas sweater.
I don't even own a sweater.
It's like my friends that live in Florida are like, I don't own socks. What am I gonna do when it drops to like 20 degrees? Need some fur lined flip flops. So I was gonna have everybody get like a leadership book or whatever it is they're going to read over this holiday break, and we'll take a picture with those books. Look at that, Thomas. You're on your game. Other Thomas has his phone. Troy, you guys all have your books. I mean, somebody can hold up Dr. Seuss if that's their jam, or a newspaper. Awesome. So that's the picture we're going to take today, is with everybody holding up a leadership book of some sort. And then when we post it on the 7 Eagle page, if you guys want to make a note saying what the title of your book is, and then we can make a really cool reading list. So, okay, tech topics for the day. We've got 3 of you.
Yeah, so I was researching some articles and ended up going down a rabbit hole. So I kind of went into the future of IT. I think we've kind of discussed that, but some key takeaways that I found throughout it: 98% of all data. Everything's going to be on the cloud. 98% will all be cloud computing. Software as a service, infrastructure as a service, and platform as a service are all going to go away. And it's just going to be everything as a service. These companies are just going to be like, hey, we're going to do it all, and you're either going to take it all or nothing. It's going to be a significant degree of self-management. This was really this is a big takeaway for me, that management and IT is going to evolve as well, especially with, you know, the optimization, things like that. It's not going to be like very hands-on for us IT people. It's going to be more make sure nothing fails. And then another big thing is going to be that it's going to turn into like a data scientist position. You're not really hands-on, you're more researching, you know, what's coming. It's rapidly changing, and to lead, you're going to have to be able to move into the future and kind of see what that holds in order to set yourself up for success.
Cool, Thomas. Adapt or die, right?
What are your thoughts, you guys? No thoughts?
A lot of cloud jobs are going to be hiring now.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me of that fully automated McDonald's that they have in Texas. They just opened up. Hope that's not anyone's tech topic. Sorry. I don't know. I think we still need niches, and people still like that, you know, hands-on, in person, yeah, being able to just focus on one thing. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Cool. Who's next?
I can go if
Go for it.
another topic isn't right. Okay. All right. So we've obviously have been talking about tech. I went more of a sports tech route, particularly with the MLB, since we have a lot of baseball fans in the cohort. So the MLB is implementing their automated ball strike system, and hopefully by 2024. So realistically, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's just automated system that takes the human element out of calling balls and strikes. There's a lot of controversy behind it, just because, you know, baseball, there's been a human in baseball for well over 100 years. There's a couple systems already in place, one of which is the Hawkeye ball tracking system. So if you've watched tennis, you've seen, you know, when they call line calls, the crowd gets pretty into it. So the Hawkeye ball tracking system allows players to challenge the call by just tapping their helmet, and then data will power a 3D visualization of the strike zone, and it'll kind of pop up on the jumbotron like you see in tennis courts or in tennis stadiums, where the ball will be coming in 3D visualization. We'll call it either a ball or strike. So the difference between the Hawkeye system and the MLB system is that the MLB system will be real time. So it'll just be automatically ball or strike, whereas the Hawkeye system, there's a little bit of a lag, and then once it's up on the jumbotron, it'll get feeded back into the umpire, and then they'll make the determination on the field. So pretty interesting, you know, taking subjectivity out of baseball. Could come with some issues, but I think in the long run it'll be useful.
That's cool, Troy. Did it talk about because I didn't even know what the name of it is. I just know they're talking about a digitized strike zone in baseball. Did they talk about how they tested that out in single A? Like, didn't they just try that, something like that, or that system? Did it say?
Yeah, they did. So they are still kind of ironing out the tech behind it. That's kind of why it hasn't been fully implemented yet. So they've pretty much a team, not even a team, like an army of machine learning and data analytic experts that have been pretty much just watching single A baseball games for the last year and a half, just trying to get the tech down. But like I said, they have the Hawkeye system. So I think they really took that legacy system and pretty much just made it better, made it more real time so that you really don't even have to have an umpire out there. Rather than with the Hawkeye system, you have a guy out there making the calls, but if they want to challenge it, then they go to the automated system.
That's awesome. I think we're going to see that a lot. That's really cool. The human eye is just not good enough, you know. It's just not in pro sports. 100% anymore.
Sad. I like yelling 3 blind mice, and I don't know. I like the human aspect. I think that's what makes it. Like, that's what pulls at your heartstring. Is like, oh my gosh, how could he have made that call? Like everyone loves disagreeing in a positive way. Like I think it gives us that outlet to have a good argument, just for the sake of arguing. I don't know.
Hey, as long as there's not like 15 minutes of freaking reviews for one pitch, we'll be good.
Yeah, that's honestly why they're going towards like this automated ball strike system rather than the Hawkeye one, because the Hawkeye one is like player, hits their helmet, challenges it, and then it goes up to the jumbotron. It's kind of a whole process, whereas like the ABS system, it'll just be instantaneous. It'll just be ball strike, done, next pitch.
Why even have people playing ball if you're slowly removing the human aspect of it?
True. We might have robots pitching to our batter
Yeah.
in the near future.
Yeah, just have the pitching machine there.
They start doing that on World Cup, the offside line automatic. There's like an AI platform that analyzes it, and it helps the referee like have more better, and like kind of like the offside line. There's no need to debate because the computer decides right away. So pretty much it's a game changer because it helps making efficiency and faster on decision making, especially for those referees.
I'm really trying right now to listen, understand, and value your viewpoint on this, you guys, but I don't think that AI technology really needs to have a place in baseball umpiring, but I'm really trying to value what you guys are saying and be empathetic.
Well, I like that, Brendan, because I mean that's kind of like the debate going on, right? And and even I think when they perfect it, I think there's going to be, many more debates on the MLB side before they ever get happy with introducing it. It's probably more than a couple of years down the road.
Yeah.
The first time it screws up in the professional level, it's going to be, yeah.
It's gonna be great if someone accident throws a game.
Taking the human element out of it, that's going to kind of water it down. I mean, when you get the ump and he makes a bad call that fires up, the other side, or that fires up the crowd. And, once you take that out of it, it's just going to be like, okay, why are we watching this to see who can hit? Talent is important, but the emotion of the game is what really drives people.
Yeah, and they're not going to implement that until the major leagues or college. So you're going to have all these, I don't know, like you're still going to have umpires, which is good in the lower leagues. But like, what about those little kids that want to be the umpire when they grow up? Like, I knew I couldn't play professional baseball, so I always thought it'd be fun to be an umpire. But then someone also told me that if you can't be a female playing professional ball, you're also not going to be a female umpire. So all my dreams were smashed. But I don't know. I don't know.
Those days are changing, by the way. That I don't think that stands today. I don't know if we have a female up. I know there's coaching staff, but I don't know if there's enough that's a female right
now. There's a few in AAA.
Okay. Thanks, Troy. So things are changing, but I don't know. And I'm okay with most changes, but I just can't. I don't know, we'll see what happens. When do they think they're gonna implement this?
They said by 2024, but you know, who knows? That's only, I mean, realistically a year away. So I'd be surprised if it's by this 2024 season, just because of all of the controversy behind it. But I guess we'll find out here shortly.
Yeah. Like Paul Bunyan, was it? No, it wasn't Paul Bunyan. Who was the guy that challenged the John Smith? I don't know, but he challenged like the locomotive that was gonna go through and make the tunnel. It's just a fictional story, I think, or maybe it's just, you know, exaggerated, but he was gonna challenge the tunnel building machine. Someone knows what I'm talking about? Okay, Colton's shaking his head. Go for it, Colton.
Well, no, I was just gonna say John Henry, then Thomas put it in the chat.
Yeah, John, there you go. Thanks, John Henry. Yeah. I think he died. Was that a real story though? Or is it?
He like had 2 sledgehammers and went through the mountain faster than the locomotive.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fictional.
Okay. Well, everyone can look that up. I feel like this is that story. Like you could have the AI and the guy, you could have them both calling the same game, and I wonder how it would turn out differently.
Yeah, he does die in the story though. Doesn't have a happy ending. But he won, right? He won. He was right.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for knowing what I was talking about, you guys. Half the time I feel like there's no point to the words I say. Oh, I owe you guys the story about Steve Jobs. Forgot about that. So Steve Jobs, back when he was first starting like his company and nobody knew who he was, so my grandfather was going out to dinner with, so it was both my grandparents and then the executive for the ad agency that they used and the guy's wife. And the ad exec said like, hey, do you mind if I invite this business owner? Like he's up and coming, we can help mentor him. And so my grandfather's like, sure, and like, no big deal, whatever. So the guy rolled up, he wasn't nicely dressed at all. He just kind of rolled in and thought he was all important and just wasn't polite to anybody. And they're having dinner. And then at the end of dinner, my grandmother, this is back at, a long time ago, she pulled out her pack of cigarettes to have a smoke after dinner with coffee. And Steve Jobs took the cigarette out of my grandmother's mouth and like put it in her water and stopped her from smoking. My grandfather's like, well, that was not a nice guy. So that's my Steve Jobs story. There's more to it, but that's the gist. So he was very anti-smoking, even back when people smoked all the time. So,
The disrespect.
yeah, my grandfather never liked him. Like, I don't care for that man. I'm like, okay, grandpa, but it's a good story. That's like one of our weird family stories.
He was probably frustrated with the Apple IIe at the time.
Probably, yeah. And maybe the calls that were being made on the baseball field too. Yeah. So who is going to see family at Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate? Yeah. Who has that song they play in their head when family's talking and you don't want to argue? Do you guys do that? When you know that inserting your opinion is not going to matter? Do you guys just play a song in your head? No.
It depends sometimes.
This is
I
like
usually just roll with it. I roll with it. I egg it on actually because I enjoy the controversy.
I like the controversy too, but I come up from a family of really good debaters. Where I know I'm not going to win. We all have very similar viewpoints anyways, but for the most part. Or you get those family members that think they really know how the military works, and then they decide to tell you how the military works. And you're like, oh, that's.
Yeah, my parents are like, oh yeah, just move to Colorado. Just like they just give them your 2 weeks notice now and just come to Colorado. I'm like, yeah, that's not how that works.
Doesn't work that way. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, I encourage you all to find a really good song to just play in your head. And that way you guys can just hang out and let family talk. You guys are really
Yeah, actually, I had a kind of little, I don't know. To me, I thought it was a really awkward situation because I went to New Hampshire like end of October time
Mhm.
with my boyfriend, and that was actually my first time meeting his family. So Eric and I, we have the same like views on like almost everything, but he didn't tell me his parents don't have the same views as he does. So so I started talking about some things that I get like the Second Amendment, right? Because I have like I have a concealed carry, blah blah blah. I brought a gun and I was like, oh look at my new gun I just bought, like ooh, you know. And his parents or his dad is like totally against it, and I was like, oh. And I look at Eric, I'm like, yo, like give him that look, like why did you not let me know? Like you let me walk right into that.
I know. I feel like that should have been some knowledge to have beforehand. My sister lives up in New Hampshire, so we're gonna try and get up there this summer. Yeah, that's some. Those are those little family nuances you need to know before you step into a situation.
Yeah, it was like the first time I met his family too, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I was like, man, I feel like I did a whole terrible impression of myself now.
Yeah, you're like, no, I really. There's other things I enjoy. Yeah, those are always.
And then on top of that, them knowing, also finding out that I'm Russian. Also, I'm like, yo.
Okay, everybody have their book. I don't even know if we can see my title.
Hang on, let me grab my. I forgot.
Okay, go grab your books. A Farewell to Arms. Colton, what do you have? Success? I can't see.
If you have a digital book, is that gonna work? I don't know if you can see that.
I'd say if you have the blurred background, you might have to turn the blurred background off.
Can you guys see that?
Tales for Noobs. I can see it. Yeah, we can, Kevin.
All right, nice.
Okay. Anthony's grabbing a book. Ivan's over there at his pretend couch. Haley. Jarvis, do you have a book? Nice.
How did everyone get the success principles? Is that
Just order it or get it through the library, the MWR, or an
I think somebody posted that in one of the chats, I think, in one of the videos.
maybe.
Do you guys buy it off of that? No comment.
No. Okay.
Did you buy it
the
or did
book?
John send it to you?
Yeah, I'm just
We
gonna
all
turn my
have-
camera off. I don't own one of these type of books.
It can be Dr. Seuss. It can be any kind of book. Bill Bryson.
Yeah, I don't think I want to hold up a Dr. Seuss book.
I
That
would appreciate
That would
it.
look great for the other hiring companies.
I bought it on Amazon.
Mark, I can't.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Background. Okay, if you have a background, you might have to a fake background. You might have to turn off your fake background. Miriam, do you have a book? Oh, there you go. Okay. Anthony, do you have a book? Yep, that's right. Okay. Thomas, do you have a book? Yes, other Thomas McAllister book. Yes. Deontay, do you have a book? Awesome.
Oh no, it's fading.
And then Jarvis, you just hopped in. We're just holding up our book. There you go. Got it. Okay, everybody. Kwanzi, do you have a book? We're taking a group picture. Okay. And then it'll get posted on 7 Eagle LinkedIn, and go ahead and drop what your book is that you're reading. Oh, hold on. John, do you have a copy of your book? You want to hop in? John, do you have a copy of your book handy? You can hold up. Okay, ready guys? 1, 2, 3, cheese. Awesome. Okay, so that'll be posted on our LinkedIn. So go ahead and comment under that with what your book is, and we'll make a really cool reading list for anybody who's interested in a New Year's resolution. Coolio. So if the tech people, I'm gonna put you into 2 rooms. So room 1 will be groups 1 through 4, and then group 2 will be I'll just rename them so you guys know what groups you're going to. Why can't I find my group thing on here? Breakout rooms, there it is. Okay, you have to muster, go muster.
What is that?
What is mustering?
Yeah, I was gonna ask the same thing.
It's like formation, right?
Yeah, it's formation for the Navy.
Really? That's terrible.
The Navy got to be aware about everything, including the ranks.
That's absolutely terrible.
Shut
Yeah.
your chair
What do you-
force ass up.
Why is it terrible?
'Cause she's like on Skill Bridge and they're making her.
Oh,
go-
yeah, okay. Yeah, that does, yeah. Yeah, that's leadership. That's probably, that's the leadership.
Yeah, that's your
Everyone
command.
laughs.
That's the aim.
Everyone laughs because they understand. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, tech people, our trainer's trying to make it today. So if you guys could, so groups 1 through 4, if you guys can go into your room, and we're gonna try and have the trainer here from 1 to noon. And then you guys can take your break from noon to 1, and then group 5 and 6, you guys go into your group now and just be back for 12 to 1. Okay, if there's any changes, I will send you guys the messages in the breakout groups. Cool deal? Okay, choose your own adventure, please. Are you guys able to choose today? Yes, okay, perfect.
So wait, where's tech going? The sales?
Sales stays here.
Okay, good.
Hello, everybody.
Morning, John.
Good morning. I didn't get the memo about ugly sweater day.
If Troy and I would have thought about it ahead of time, I bet we would have said something about it yesterday. I just thought about it this morning. So we're representing for all of us.
I love it. I love it.
I honestly saw Brandon on camera and I was like, you know what, I got a sweater right next to me. I'm gonna toss it on.
There's one lesson we haven't talked about before. We'll start with the lesson. But the lesson is when you're calling on a prospect, that you want the prospect to feel better about themselves than you. You want them to feel more okay than you. Does that make sense to anybody? I'll give you an example. Like if I was, going to meet Kevin and we met, said hello, and then immediately I said, well, Kevin, I'm glad I got here on time. I went ahead and took the Gulfstream 5 because I want to make sure I wasn't going to be late for the appointment. So, an obvious humble brag, right? But I flew in on my Gulfstream to meet Kevin. And, like no matter what he said, I'll be like, well, yeah, and I brought my whole team with me. I only have 6 people I travel with. So we normally get a whole floor of a hotel when we travel, but it's expensive and it's worth it to have them with us. So I'm just constantly telling Kevin how great I am. And that's the last thing you want to do. It's hard to do sometimes, because you're kind of proud of who you are, but you want to have them almost feel sorry for you. Not quite, but like almost like, oh, I know Kevin, he's struggling a little bit here. I want to try to help him move him forward. And if someone comes in really cocky, your inclination is to knock them back a peg. And that's why, Brandon, that sweater is such a good thing, because when I see you in that sweater, I feel more okay than you. Same for you, Troy.
I'm glad I could help, John.
You're-
Representing well today.
You're passing every test.
Self-deprecating humor is a good thing.
Yeah.
Also, good morning, everybody.
Yeah. Like an example of self-depreciating humor would be if I was calling on Jack. Jack asked me how my trip in was.
Hey, John, how was your trip in today?
Oh man, I was excited to come see you, but I'm so clumsy. I spilled a whole cup of coffee on my clean shirt, and I had to change shirts, and I think I barely got here on time. I'm sorry if I was late, but I spilled it all over me. I'm so clumsy.
Oh man, I hope you didn't burn yourself.
I think I'm okay, but thanks for saying that.
Just some mild second-degree burns.
Do you have any salve?
Ointment.
Okay, Jack, we must have an agenda today. We can't riff the whole
We
time.
do. So we were finishing up decision. I don't think we got everybody through the decision practice yesterday. So I remember we had Troy, Brandon, Colton, and then did we have someone else go at the end after Colton, or you were the last one, Colton? I think Colton was last.
I want to say
yesterday.
Thomas went before me.
Thomas
Yeah,
went before you. So we got
I just
Brandon,
went
Troy,
before.
Thomas, Colton. So we got 4 down. So we've got how many do we have today? Kevin, Guang. Guang, are you part? He's not in this group. He's just here. Okay, don't worry about it. And then Ivan, same thing. Ivan's just in the tech cohort and hasn't dropped off the call. Or Ivan, are you in the sales?
No, I'm in sales.
Okay, sorry. I don't know if you maybe joined us late. So we got Ivan and Kevin.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Steven.
I'll go next.
Kevin, you want to go next? Okay,
Yep.
so we just finished talking about budget. We've identified the pain and qualified it. We've confirmed they have at least ballpark budget to pay for what we were offering. And now we're trying to learn more about how they make a decision on purchasing something like this. So just to give you guys a quick preview, we'll do decision, finish this out, and then get into fulfillment. How do we actually, do what we're saying we're going to do? Stephen, do you have a hand up, or are you just stifling a yawn? Okay, awesome. Well, Kevin, you got the ball, man. Talk to me.
Okay. All right, sir. So we figured out your budget. How does your team usually make a decision on a purchase like this?
Well, normally when we have something like this to consider, if it's below a certain price point, I can approve this. But for something like we've discussed, the range you were just talking about our budget, it's probably going to have to go up to our board. We have a monthly board meeting, so one will be here at the end of January, end of December, and board reviews any expenditure over $10,000, and so this will be on that list most likely. Board will have to say yes or no.
Sweet. So we do know that typically we need multiple people to sign off on this. Do you know who else we would need to get brought in for this? Possibly like a list or something?
Yeah, I mean, assuming the board can, board buys off on it, then I'll be the signer. I'll actually be the one to approve it. But yeah. So yeah, there's no other stakeholders outside of myself and our board.
Excellent. What else? What can I do to help you be essentially the hero of the story and for your company?
One of the things I know our board is going to ask for is a customer reference, somebody that has similar industry to us that has bought something like this from you guys before and had a good experience, we'd love to eventually talk to them who might not reach out, but they do want to at least know that there's you guys have a success story in this industry that we could compare. So if you could prepare just a quick case study or something like that I could take to the board and say, okay, we're looking at buying this. Here's an example where they solve somebody else's problem. That would be helpful.
Thanks.
It's one of those things I know the board is going to ask for. So if I don't show up with it, they're gonna frown at me and probably say no. So
sure, yeah, I can prepare that for you.
Awesome. Cool. That does it, Kevin. That was good, man. Don't have to overcomplicate things, right? Just asking the questions, learning what they have to say. There at the end, though, I don't think I have a problem with you saying that's something I can do for you. I've already explained it, so you're not jumping to solve there. You're just like, yeah, that sounds doable, right? Last thing I could say is if you wanted to kind of close the loop, like tie a bow on it, would be to say, okay, assuming, let's pretend, if that prepares right, let's pretend, get you a case study, customer case study, and you take it to the board at the end of the month, and they give you a thumbs up. What do you see happening next? That way, it's kind of like they have to go through. Okay, well, I've made up my mind if I'm taking it to the board, so you're just going to have to send me a DocuSign, and I'll get it turned around, and we'll get started, right? Or hey, the board will approve it, but the money won't be available till we get 2023 budget allocated from the finance team, and we won't actually be able to sign anything until end of January, right? That way, you're just learning what they expect. You can learn to kind of line your expectations up with their expectations. So you're not like, oh, great, I'll have a signed contract on January 2nd. When in his mind, he's thinking, a month after that, or 6 months after that, or whatever the case may be. So that was the only other thing you could add on to the end of that would be, what do you see happening next, assuming all this goes according to plan?
That's right. That was that last sentence that was added on to that.
That's right. But good job. Good job otherwise. Yeah.
Right.
One thing just to say, Kevin, I know you're working on your process and it makes you feel more comfortable to have your camera off. You're especially going to be on a lot of these video calls and learning to have it's weird to make eye contact with someone over Zoom, right? Because you're kind of like staring at yourself in the mirror almost. So I like to minimize the screen and just make it so all I can see is their face. And then I put the face up right next to my camera. So my camera is right here in the middle of the top of the screen. I will minimize the meeting, put their face just right up at the top. So I'm looking at them, and to them, it appears that I'm looking at them. Just something to think about as you're navigating the world of Zoom meetings, which unfortunately is the way of the world these days. Especially if you're gonna be in sales, you're gonna have to talk to people. And if their face is on the screen and yours isn't, it's kind of like the equal business stature is not there anymore. So
right.
Encourage you to start maybe giving that a try and feeling how that makes you feel to be able to see your own face, or if not, at least minimize it. So Padre, any notes or thoughts on Kevin?
Yeah, Kevin, good job just going through it, Kevin. That's excellent. This is how we get better. We don't start out, a musical career ad-libbing like, John Coltrane. We're just going to ask, we're going to go through it nice and solid. Couple of things. First of all, let's pretend, we didn't get to that, but if you didn't do let's pretend, what would happen is you would do what a normal average salesperson does, which is take your orders from the prospect. Get me this, get me that, send me a proposal, I'll run up the flagpole. And then normally that bad salesperson would be calling that Jack every 2 weeks saying, hey, how things going? Hey, how things going? Almost like Spike and that little dog in the cartoon, just kind of pestering him. So when you say let's pretend, you're helping the prospect look into the future and start to plan out what might be happening and what else you could do to make this happen. Because again, your mindset here is you're helping this person figure out how to get what they want. You're not just here to sell them something. So that's one thing. The second thing is, and again, we hadn't really worked on this a lot yet, but every sentence, everything you're going through, it needs to sound a little more interested and curious. So instead of just one thing leads to the next, each one would be something like, okay, so now let's pretend, if you would, let's just pretend that everything comes in and you like it. Then what happens? Just a little more, in your own voice, a little more interested in everyone. So the song, the song goes up, the song moves around. That's a good song. You wouldn't want a song to be just one way the whole time. So I work on that. And the last thing, and this we can, we'll work on this a lot before we finish up. But these days, if you're contacting a lot of people on Zoom or on Teams or whatever, now again, I'm not a good example. My background stinks, but your background at your primary office is important. And it's important that you have a background, you have a presence. It's almost like going to somebody's office. Like if I went to your office, Kevin, you were on the 45th floor of the so-and-so building in St. Louis, and it was, real nice. I would think, well, this guy's kind of got his act together. I would just immediately think that he's probably, got a pretty good job, knows what he's doing. But, if it was like in some little strip mall and you had a cube somewhere and, there was stained floors and just a mess, I would think, well, this is kind of shady. So since we're on Zoom now, they're making those same judgments based on what you look like on Zoom. So your thing could be just fine. You just need some shelves behind you, or a bookcase or something, or a fake screen like Brandon's so good at, where you have something back there that represents your company or whatever. But who knows? I don't even know. I guess mine, you can't really tell because I got it on blur, but mine's just a wall. But anyway, those are my thoughts, Jacob.
Yeah, that's all good. One thought is yeah, blur's better than showing off a gross background.
Yeah.
And but it does kind of make you look like you're floating in space, and they're kind of like wondering what's going on back there. One of my favorite vendors, they all use, like, I guess they have like 7 or 8 offices around the country, and they have a picture from a conference room in every office. And those are their options for backgrounds, right? So they can be in Texas, they can be in, Philadelphia, they can be in Atlanta. But every time you talk to anyone from their team, all of them has one of those backgrounds. So it's kind of a consistent thing it's almost like wearing a branded shirt for your company or something like that. It just kind of creates a consistent look where they're not thinking about it, right? They're not thinking about your background because it's a known thing they see every time, versus like, oh, today Brandon's in the woods with his cat, or tomorrow he's on the beach in Fiji. Like, it can be fun. I've done funny backgrounds before too. I was trying to see if I had any stuff on my background that wasn't, you could be in space. Can you guys see these when I change them? Anyway, enough about backgrounds. I think Mark, did we go? You went yesterday, yeah? You want to go next?
No, yeah, I can go.
All right. Mark, call John, please.
Okay.
You guys are just finishing up the budget conversation.
Scenario, Mark, is I'm a business owner and I'm frustrated that I can't seem to get to 10 million in sales.
Y'all just finished up. You've done pain discovery. You've done
He's standing up. He's serious
budget.
now.
Oh, he's stretching. Okay, he's ready to go. Send it, Mark.
All right. Hi, John. So how does your team usually make decision on purchases like this?
Oh.
Did you mute, Padre?
No, I was just thinking. That's
Okay.
I was just thinking. Let's start over. I think you need just a little bit of transitional something.
Okay. So
if you just, like, we're going from one part of the sub to the next part of the sub. So you need a little bit like, hey, thanks for sharing with me all this stuff about, what your goals are and how we're trying to get 10 million. I think I know the answer to this since you're the owner, but I'm trying to understand how you guys are gonna make decisions here. Can you tell me how you normally do it? Like, we've talked about this before, Mark. We've got to assume we're dealing with a 4-year-old. Okay, you got to go slow. You got to explain what you're going to ask them. You got to ask them slowly, because it just move them right down the line. But that felt a little abrupt to me. So why don't we just start over?
Okay. Hey John, thank you for sharing about your frustrations about that one. But I think I might have an
You're
idea.
welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad to have done it. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, but I think I have an idea regards to how we're going to resolve or move forward for this. But there's still some more couple questions that I want to ask, if you don't mind.
Sure, that'll be fine.
Okay, so usually in purchases like this, how does your team usually make decision?
Okay, well, thanks for asking. You know, I own the place, so ultimately I make the decision, but I've got 3 people, you know, my head of IT, my financial person, and my head of sales. That's kind of my management team. So I like them all to be bought into what I'm doing. But at the end of the day, I make the decision.
Okay. Is there who else we need to get bought in to make it to happen? Aside from those 3 people that you mentioned?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's it. If we're all agree, we're gonna do something.
Okay. So I know we're trying to help your company, John. So what else can we do to make you a hero of this story, your company? Because usually we're trying to perhaps we can do more sorry, I got on that one.
You've entered into the push to speak territory, Mark.
Yeah, I was trying to think
You read
like
the
something
sentence and
else.
then you said and then started adding your own ad lib stuff. And you realize that you're like, oh my God, I actually don't know what to say here. So that's push to think versus push to talk. So just start that sentence over and just end it at the sentence and don't ad lib.
Okay, so going back again. What can I do to help you be the hero of this story to your company? I understand we're trying to help resolve the problem, but we're not riding in a white horse to save them. So
now, can he just stop at the very beginning?
Yeah, that's the second time that's happened, and that's my bad. I put quotations in that, and then after the quotations, there's another sentence that says kind of it's a editorializing the thing. So yeah, just read the quoted part. I apologize for that oversight on my part.
Okay, so just what can I do to help you be the hero of this story to your company?
Yep.
Is there something?
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it. That's it.
Now, when you say that, and I'm pausing on purpose, it's just to make you uncomfortable because you want to fill that gap so bad, you know. But the great salesperson is just going to say, well, Mark, what can I do to make you the hero here? I even tried to do it. What can I do to make you the hero of this story? And there'll be a pause. And then they come back and say something. But I would say, to keep going, I would say, okay, you want to make me the hero? Show me what I got to do with my sales team to get them up over 10 million bucks a year. That will make me a hero. I don't know how to do it. So you show me how to do that.
So, and I would respond like, there's going to be more like a marketing strategy in which we're trying to be more aggressive on your sales. So that's part of like the negotiations, right? Or
no, that's the fulfillment.
Okay.
That's the fulfillment. So Jack, what's the next question you have down there after hero?
I'm pulling it up right now. Mark, what's after hero on the sheet? Mark, you there?
Hold on.
I don't have it in front of me yet.
Look at Ivan with the bookshelf. Looking good.
After the hero, it's just the quotations, and then it says we're helping them solve their problem. And then after that, it goes to fulfillment.
Okay, so that's it. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's really, I mean, it doesn't have to be more complicated than that.
yeah.
Mark, do you feel how that when you ask that question, how can I make you, what can we do to make you the hero of this story to your company? The pause makes you feel like you need to fill that empty space. Your instinct is just to keep talking, and all of our instinct is to keep talking at that point.
Yeah, because it feels like I need to offer something. Like
Yeah.
when you're trying to like you need to be ready to counter just in
Yep.
case, because the response is like a yes or a no.
Yep.
So when he says like yes, I want this, you like be prepared to counter whatever that kind of like negotiations that he wants to ask
Yeah.
asking with you.
Have you seen the movie 40-Year-Old Virgin?
Yes.
You know, when they give him the advice to just ask questions and he hits on that girl in the bookstore, you need to be like that, right? You got these questions,
Just
you're just
ask.
asking the questions, cool, calm, cool, and collected. And if he had come in and asked a question and she had paused and he just like, immediately started vomiting every other thought that he had in his head, would not have gone nearly as well, right? But he just asked these cool questions and then stopped talking. And it was like, she was just like, set on fire, so you want to be that to your prospect. You want to be the guy who's not flustered by silence and let your prospect be the one who's maybe squirming a little bit in their chair, right? Not in a bad way, not trying to put them on blast or anything, but you want them thinking, shit, what would make me the hero? What do my people care about? When I go into that, all hands meeting that I have scheduled every Monday morning, and I tell them I got this new sales coach coming in and they're going to groan. We tried this before and they're going to say, oh, this is bullshit. And so how can you come in like the hero in this case? So you want them to squirm a little bit. That's fine. You don't want to be the one squirming. That makes sense.
It's such an interesting question. There's different ways to ask it, Mark. But think about it. If you're the buyer and I say to you, Mark, how can I sell you my product? That's putting everything on me, right? I win. I'm trying to win. I'm trying to make a commission. I'm trying to look good at my company. How can I get that from you, Mark? That's one way to think about it. That's the traditional way to think about it. The other way is to say, Mark, how can I make you the hero in this situation? What do I need to do with myself and my company to make you the hero of this project?
I personally, sorry.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, I personally don't like that line. That's something I would never say. For me personally,
It makes less sense when you're talking to the business owner. I was thinking that as that this rep was going, and I think it makes less sense if you're talking to the CEO and they say that I'm really the only decision maker here. That might be less relevant to them. This is more of a question where if you're talking to someone who's not the business owner, or if it's a small private company and you got the sole decision maker sitting there, person who signs all the checks, you don't really need to ask that question, right? You could rephrase it if you wanted to.
Or you could also say, Kevin, everyone gets to pick their own words. You could say, what does a home run project look like to you?
Yeah. What do you care about most if this project moves forward? What's your top priority, right? Getting what, especially the owner of the company, you want to know what they care about more than anything. So you can make sure that that's highlighted, featured as you go through, the implementation and service delivery and everything. So, but yeah, you're right, Kevin. It doesn't necessarily make sense if you're talking to the man. If this is like, if John was the VP of IT, for example, and he's like, I love this, I need it, but I know that the C-level people care about X, Y, and Z. And I'm trying to get a promotion to CIO next year. And so here's how you can help me do that. That's what that question is really geared toward, is someone who's not the owner, not the president, not the CEO.
So what's like a few other ways to rephrase that? So we have a few options.
What matters most to you in this decision? What is this like Patrick, what does a home run look like for you?
Yeah, what's a home run look like for you? Or if we come back a year from now and we look at this project, what would be a 10 out of 10 for you? What would it look like? What would we need to do on this project for you to recommend me to all your friends?
Yeah, that's a great one.
That good.
And we'll get into doing.
That's a good one, because then you can circle back and get those referrals later.
I actually put together a day of referral asking to this whole pipeline. It's not in the submarine, but there you can sprinkle in before, during, and after the sale, kind of preparing that prospect to make referrals, whether or not you close the business or not. You can say, oh, you guys, you're not a good fit. Now that that's done, remember when I told you my business runs on referrals? If you appreciated this process and anybody, could benefit from working with us, really appreciate it. A warm introduction from you mean the world to me, right? So just being able to ask for referrals kind of throughout the thing, letting them know that that's something you want, and helping them understand how to refer you helps them understand your business and how they could use you better. So absolutely love that rephrasing of that question. Let's pretend it's 6 months from now. What would have to be true for you to be, evangelical about referring me to your peers? That's a good way to talk to the owner, because they're going to have some really high level contacts that you could get introduced to. So good question, Kevin. Stephen, I think you were going to go next because you had to jump here in a little bit. You good to go?
I got 2 minutes. My
2
ride will be
minutes.
here in 2 minutes. So let's see
Even
what we
talk
can
to John
do.
for 2 minutes.
All right.
Same scenario.
Hey, John. So we just a minute ago, you were telling me a little bit about how this situation was essentially causing you an estimated $100,000 every month. So if this problem persists, how much do you think you should be spending to attack it and solve it?
Well, if it was a one-time expense, I could easily spend 250 grand on it.
Okay, so 250 grand. And when you say 250 grand, do you think that would be would that be a problem to get that approved? And what would the steps be to get that across the finish line?
Aren't we in the wrong part of the sub?
Kind of. You started off in budget. Just pretend we're done with budget, and you just started asking about decision just now.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. He gave me an answer. He answered the question directly and gave me 250. So that's what threw me off. I'm sorry, gents. I gotta go.
No problem.
I'm trying to get
sorry
back
about,
to the
sorry
United
about that,
States
Stephen.
of America.
No problem.
But,
we'll see you on the other side of the pond. Safe travels.
All right, see you now. Bye bye.
Yeah.
He's traveling overseas.
He's redeploying back home from Germany, I think.
That was his last call.
Last call.
I wish it would have gone better.
Yeah, you're not going to win them all. All right. Jokes aside, let's see. Done. Mark, I think Ivan.
Yeah, I can go next. I can go next.
Ivan.
Yeah.
So we talked about pain, qualified their pain. You've qualified that they've got budget for something like this, or that they can at least, entertain something in the range you're talking about. So now your only goal right now is to figure out how they make a decision on buying.
Okay. Alrighty. Let's do this. Okay. So we talked about budget. Or wait, who am I talking to?
You talk to me.
Okay, Jack. So we talked about budget, Jack, and I had a few other questions for you. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. We got some time left.
Okay, sweet. So regarding all these budget numbers and all this and that, how does your team usually make decisions on a purchase like this?
Well, normally, once I've found something that I think's worth running up the flagpole, I'll present it to the other managers at our weekly managers meeting. We'll do a ranking process where all the proposed projects or expenditures are ranked against one another, and then we pick maybe the top 3, focus on those. And so we have to make the case that this is the top 3 project for the next quarter. And once that was voted on, and we would get approval from finance, and then we would go ahead and execute a contract.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is multiple stakeholders have to sign this.
Yeah, ultimately, it's going to be our VP of finance who's going to sign any contracts because they control the purse strings. So I will basically be the champion, right? I'm running with it. I'll own this internally, but I don't have any decision-making authority at my level. I can't sign the contracts. So yeah, we got it. And then, so I'm VP of IT, meaning the VP of finance involved. Our operations director, VP of ops is going to be pretty key. They're going to have some inputs as this is an operational technology purchase we're making. So it'll impact our world pretty directly. So those are kind of the key three people: myself, ops, and finance that we need to make happy.
Okay, so 3 of them.
Yep.
Okay. What can I do to help you be the winner of this story to your company?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I appreciate that. So the personally, there's an upcoming promotion available for CIO, and I'm gunning for that position, right? They like hiring internally. I got the inside track on the inside the company, so that's what I'm gunning for. And we've had a couple of technology purchases in the last couple of years that have gone a little bit sideways post sale. So maybe helping by providing some customer case studies about not just the sale, but the post-sale implementation and support being a part of the win. I'd love to see something like that so I can communicate that to my team and help them feel a little more comfortable spending this much money when in the past, this type of stuff has gone sideways after we signed a contract. So helping me alleviate those fears, put me in a position to be promoted to CIO next year is how you could help.
Okay, that's perfect. That's really big goals on your side.
Yeah, ambitious, but got to be, right?
Yeah, yes, sir. Okay.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks, Ivan.
That's it.
Yeah, good job, man. I think that was good. You did a little bit of ad-libbing, but that's cool, right? You could ad-libbing within the kind of the bounds of the questions that we put out there. So I can't think of anything as far as notes or feedback. Dad, did you have any observations there?
That was very good. I thought the pacing was good. The tone was good. In a conversation, it's almost like a tango dance or something. If you've got a really good tango dancer dancing with someone who's not so good, it's kind of an awkward dance. So the better salespeople are going to be able to match their prospects, however they talk, and be kind of like them. And the call will just go boom, 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 back and forth, just like that with this. So you did a good job, Ivan.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good. And one other point, just so y'all understand, our goal as salespeople is to get to the point where we can do big things, right? We can sell $1 million deals and make a 10% commission, or we can buy the Rangers, right? Or we could trade for Rodriguez or something big to do that. Now, how do you get to do that? It's doing what Ivan and Jack just did, but it's 10 years ago. Okay. They started a relationship. Jack eventually helped Ivan, or Ivan helped Jack become a CIO. He kept helping him get stuff. He developed trust. He learned what Jack needs. Jack eventually became a CIO at a bigger company, kept helping him, became a CEO at a bigger company, kept helping him. Now, when he needs something, is he going to go to a stranger to go get it, or is he going to go to Ivan? He's going to go to Ivan. He's not even going to check the price. 10 years, 12 years later, he's already done 4 or 5 big things for him. And that's how you get to that level where you're doing the monster deals. Unfortunately, it doesn't come year one typically, but you work your way up to where you can do these big deals. And it's really not that difficult to do them. It's just difficult to get to the point that someone will let you do them.
Yeah. So guys, I wanted to share one thing with you real fast. Did you have a question on that before we move on?
I just uploaded the updated decision thing.
Oh yeah, thank you. Saw that.
Sort of what you guys said. I don't know if that looks good or if I can change it up a little bit, maybe like.
Yeah, I just downloaded it. I haven't looked yet, but thanks for doing that. And I will try and incorporate that into the 2.0 document. So we'll take all the notes from this first cohort and put it into that document. And so at the end, you guys will get the updated version. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay. And again, this is a reference thing. You can use it verbatim. You can add to it. You can take notes on it. You can use it to set up your call sheet. So I don't know if we said this before, but if you're preparing for a call, always have this stuff written down ahead of time, right? Doesn't have to be scripted out everything. You can do that. I recommended it first, but a minimum kind of get the flow of the call, who you're talking to, what their title is, what the purpose of the call is, get all that stuff written down. So it's not, you're taking as much guesswork out of the process as possible, right? That push to think guesswork is just deadly. And a sales account that I follow on Twitter said the same thing this morning. They're like, if you're not following a script on doing sales, then you're, setting yourself up to fail, because, you can wing it and get lucky sometimes, but more than often than not, it's just going to be confusing and chaotic and not going to result in anything good. So don't feel like writing it down and going off of a cheat sheet is bad. It's you're cheating for your prospect, for their benefit, not yours. So yours too, but just wanted to say with the conversation about, planting a seed and selling those big accounts doesn't come right away. It comes from planting seeds and building trust over time. So, and part of that is not trying to be a pushy salesperson. So I got introduced, referred into a guy who was a plant manager for a pretty big, third-party logistics company here in the upstate. They're West Coast based, and they were moving into South Carolina, and he was building this, helping, manage the first plant, was helping open up a second plant in South Carolina. So I was like, this is a juicy prospect, right? Exactly in the need. Whenever someone's building or moving, that's a great time for me to get in, because I can sell them the internet circuit as a way to get it and sell them something. So turns out when I called the guy, his name was Kevin as well. Hey Kevin, what's going on, man? What's new in your world? He's like, well, just quit that job, so I'm currently unemployed. I was like, well, motherfuck, like, went from being a really exciting prospect to what's the point of talking to this guy, right? He's an unemployed. I can't do anything for him. He doesn't need me at all. But I said, hey, that makes sense. So would it make sense for us to spend maybe 10, 15 minutes just having a friendly conversation, get to know each other a little bit, and call it at that? And I said, sure. So we talked. This is probably a year ago. I've drifted on him some since then, and he's not replied. And then I sent him an email, said, hey, it's closing up at the end of the year. Just wanted to catch up. It's been a while since we talked. We talked this morning. He's moved on to a much bigger company in the DC area, and didn't have any needs right now. We didn't identify any pain. His biggest pain was getting permits approved from the local government, which I had nothing to do with. So, we left it at that. I asked for a referral, and he said, well, come to think of it, my old company is building another thing. You should talk to this person at that company, right? So it's not, it is a long game. And the fact that I've never tried to sell Kevin anything is building trust, right? Jack's not here just to make a transaction. Jack's not here just to, benefit himself. He's here to care about me as a person, check in on how I'm doing, see how, holiday shopping season's going or whatever, and then making himself available if I ever need some help. And that's a very different approach than saying, hey, what can we transact today? And if there's nothing there, I don't really care about you, right? So I think about it as like you're almost like a farmer. You're planting seeds out in the field that if you expect them to grow today or tomorrow, you're going to be, left wanting. But if you believe in those seeds and you plant them in the right place and water them and take care of them and make sure the pests don't nibble at them, you're going to get some good returns months down the road. So I hope that that analogy makes sense. I think we got everybody, right? Has anyone not done the decision practice? I think we're good. I think everybody's silence tells me everything I need to know. No one's not gone. Did anyone have any parting shots or questions or thoughts about getting to learning how they make a decision in the submarine?
So I know yesterday when we were going over the hypertend stuff, John had also put in the chat another thing would be happy to.
Yeah.
I didn't know if we were going to go over that today.
Padre, you want to address that one?
Yeah, it's just another great phrase you need to have in your repertoire. And during the sub, during your sales cycle, they're going to say all kind of things. They're going to throw this bait in the water, trying to catch you like a fish and get you sidetracked. And if you get sidetracked, it means we're not going to finish the sub. We're going to start talking about something else. So if they say something like, early on, Colton, if they say, so Colton, listen, I'm in a hurry. Could you show me a demo? You, instead of saying, no, not now, we'll do it late, instead of fighting with the customer, you want to say, I'm happy to show you a demo. I'm ecstatic. I can't wait to do it. But if it's okay with you, I like to wait just a little bit longer once I learn a little bit more about you, so we can give a better demo a little bit later, if that's okay. So that's just a really nice way of saying no. Okay. But you see, happy to, I'm happy to. So no matter what they say, can we get a discount? Happy to give you a discount. And then you can again say, what's based on blah, blah, blah. And you can, but just, you want to agree with them and say happy to, and then move right back to what you were doing.
And you can couple that. This is all under the category of objection handling, right? The let's see a demo is almost an objection, right? It's another hurdle you have to clear versus getting a yes and a signed contract. So say happy to do a demo, right? This team loves doing demos. They got a great demo slide deck and everything. But let's pretend we do the demo and you and your team are thrilled with what you see. What would have to be true? What would have to happen on that demo for that to be true, right? You're learning what they want to see, what they care about. And they might be like, you know what, we really don't give a shit about the demo. That's just normally what companies say they do. And what we really want to see is that you can do X, Y, or Z. And so, okay, well, do you think we could get that done without a demo? They're like, if you can do that without a demo, great. And you're like, oh, sweet. Now we can skip the demo and actually do what they want versus just doing what they think we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Again, they don't know how to buy. The demo might just be we read on the internet, you're supposed to ask the vendor for a demo before you buy.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're headed somewhere. You're headed down this submarine. We're trying to find out, is there a sale here or not? Can we help these people or not? And if we take an hour to do a demo for them before we find out, it's for sure wasting your time and probably wasting their time. It doesn't make sense. But if you tell them, if you're a jerk and say, no, we don't do demos right now or something, they hate you. So you have to say happy to, and here's how we'd like to do it if it's okay with you. So that's what happy to means. You can use it for lots of stuff. They might say, hey, Colton, can you bring your whole team down here to St. Louis and meet our team? Happy to. Of course, I would love to. Let's just get a little further in our talks, maybe not right this second, but eventually, yeah, that would be great. So it's just an attitude of agreeing. You never, ever, ever, ever want to fight with the customer or the prospect. You just don't fight with them. You're kind and you're nice, but you still find a way to get what you want.
One of my favorite movies of all time is Superbad. One of my favorite quotes from the movie Superbad is desperation is a stinky cologne, right? If you're like, oh my God, I would love to do this demo. When can we schedule the demo? You're just like, it's kind of getting into that, pushy salesperson vibe or mentality. So never want to appear desperate. You want to appear like, yeah, we'd love to do a demo. We're happy to do that. But first, you want to always be kind of challenging a little bit, pushing back a little bit on what they're saying, because it might not be anything. It might be, hey, we've got a standard policy at our company that we have to do a demo before we buy anything. All right, great. What criteria, what are we hoping to accomplish with the demo other than just checking a box? All right, are y'all ready to move on to fulfillment? Yep. Yes.
Yes, we are.
All right. So on the sheet, now we've qualified their pain, budget, and decision-making process. Time to propose what it is that we have to solve their problem. Right. So this is solution driven, right? But based on what you've told me so far, I think we've got a really good fit to deliver services that you and your company are looking for, right? Or the solution or the product or whatever. Do you think that's the right way, Padre? Or would you get them to say that? Ask them, based on what we've said, do you think we're a good fit so far? What do you prefer there?
Well, there's different ways to do it, obviously. It depends on what they've done. But you could say something like, you could say, Colton, based on everything I've learned so far, I think we can help you. Now, what would you like to see from us to prove that we can help you? What would you like us to do? Or you could say, to be a little more aggressive, you could say, based on what you told us, and based on what we've done with some other customers, I think we can help you. And then the great question is, what would you like to do now? That's a better question. So say, based on what we've done with some other customers, we think we can help you. What would you like to do now? And then that's when you really want to be quiet. And that owner is just, they're thinking. And here's what they're thinking about. They're thinking, I might be able to get over 10 million. This guy, Colton, might be able to help me get over my 10 million. That's what he's thinking about. How can I make that happen? What is he not thinking about? He's not thinking about a reference or a proposal or a demo. He's thinking about what he wants. He wants to get his company over 10 million and growing. And that's what he's thinking about. So at that point, they can say anything. That's the beauty of this. They could say, why don't we get started? Why don't we do, why don't we just get started as small as we can and see if it starts to work? Or I have to talk to one of your people who you've helped get over 10 million before. If you make that happen, I'm good. Or, show me how we're going to do this, or, whatever. But, when you're in that emotional state, what you want to do is you want to get started. So I think, Jack, to answer your question, say, based on what you've told me, what we've done for other clients, I think we can help you. What would you like to do now? And then once they say it all, then you kind of know what fulfillment looks like. Fulfillment might be, how do we get started? How can we get them a proposal? Whatever they say. So you want to that shouldn't be that hard just to practice that.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 lines we have written down, you can use those as they are, or like we just discussed, you can tweak them a little bit, make them a little more simple. But based on what you told me, I think our team would be a good fit. Or just, you could say, I think we're in a good position to help. What do you need from our end to make that true? Or what were you hoping happened next? So do you want to practice this? This is kind of a less, I guess, complicated part of the funnel, right? Of the submarine. It's not something that's as scripted. It's really more just like, okay, now we're here. What were you hoping to happen? Because you could just say, here's what we do. We're going to schedule a thing. You could tell them what happens next in your mind, but that might not be what they were hoping for. So
yeah,
again,
a bad salesperson at this point will say, okay, well, thanks for all that. So here's what happens next. We're going to do a proposal and an RFP. And then we're going to do a PowerPoint, and then we're going to schedule a demo. We're going to bring 4 people here, and so and so and so and so. And the guy might be thinking, I don't want any of that. I want to get started.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it happen with my own eyes. We drove a state away. We looked at a demo, and of a calling service, people that would call and generate leads. And the lady says to us, me and my partner, she goes, okay, well, I'm glad you like it. We'll get you a proposal, and we can, we'll follow up in a couple of weeks. And she went bad salesperson all of a sudden. And my partner says to the lady, he goes, listen, I want these people calling before we get back to Greenville. I want them calling like as we're getting on the elevator. I want the phones ringing, because he was ready to go. And he had the money, and he could make the decision. And he wanted to try it, which we did. So the point is, it's really this is an easy part. If you'll just say, think we can help you. Done this with 3 other customers just right around here. what would you like to do now? I think that's the perfect thing to say.
Yep. Very cool,
Okay.
very open-ended. And I think instead of practicing that by itself, I think we're going to do post-sale as well. So looking at fulfillment and post-sale, and then we can wrap up today talking about those two, and tomorrow we can practice both of them together. Does that make sense, guys?
Okay.
Because they're both kind of a smaller piece of the submarine, not as lengthy. And so I think instead of chunking it up, we'll just say we're going to dive into post-sale as well for our last 10 minutes today, and then come back and do either just those two, or honestly, what I'd like to do tomorrow is practice the whole thing, right? Everybody gets a rep practicing the whole sales cycle, start to finish, just so you can start to see how it all flows together, and break until after the second. Yeah, good. So we'll finish tomorrow. Will be our last thing before the new year, and that way we can start doing sales practice, start to finish, come the second. Does that sound good for everybody?
Yeah, I had a quick question. So
Shoot.
for that, for the fulfillment portion of it, so it says, like, would it be wrong? Like, let's say it says you guys wrote, based on what you've told me, I think our team would be perfect fit, right? Like, to me, to me, let's say I was the CEO of this company you're trying to sell. To me, that sounds like you think, like, you know, kind of like you don't know really. I would
Yeah.
much rather you tell me, hey, I know our team would be a perfect fit, you know, because to
Yeah.
me, that sounds like you're not confident in your
Yeah, no,
product.
100%. That's a good point. I'm probably guilty in my writing language sometimes of being a little bit but softening words in there, like I think, or I believe, or I feel.
Yeah.
So you're right. My editor wife would say the same thing.
Oh no, I'm just asking you. I
No,
wasn't like,
it's a good
okay.
point. You are
Yeah.
correct, and that sentiment is correct. That those type of statements can erode your credibility, right?
But it's
Mhm.
it's also, it's a good question. Some of these, sales is not an exact science, and there's a psychological way. If I said, Ivan, I'm 1,000% sure we can nail this for you, then the CEO might be thinking,
Yeah.
how's he
Yeah.
1,000? You don't want to be too sure. You want to kind of say, you know what, Ivan, I think we can help you. I think we can help you. It sounds almost like,
Okay. So it would depend on the
that's,
tone.
yeah. So it's the tone, and if I, how can I be 100? What if I don't even know what's behind the curtain yet? I'm not 1,000% sure I can help, but I think I can.
Yeah, based on
Okay.
what you've said, it sounds like we're a good fit, right? So we started at 30,000 feet. Now we're down at maybe 500 feet. Still looks like we're a good fit. We still got a little ways to go. We really won't know if we're a good fit until implementation, down the road. But yeah, it's a good point. So post sale, this is a weird thing because this is, normally people are they're high fiving. Some companies have a bell they ring when they make a sale, whatever the process is for kind of, hey, we got one in the bag, right? Signed contract, the win. That's normal sales brain, right? Not that you can't or shouldn't do those things, but there's a number of ways where a sale can go sideways after the close, right? So you've got figured out what fulfillment looks like. They said, okay, send us a contract. We'll get it turned around this week. Boom, contract's turned around. You think it's done at that point, but it's not. There's a lot of stuff that could still blow that up before you install the thing, before you actually deliver the services. Some of the things that can happen post-sale, buyer's remorse, right? They just signed a big contract with a new vendor. There's that immediate fear of, did I make the wrong choice? Are we getting the best price? If there's an incumbent vendor, that they're going to come back and say, hey, we can cut our price or whatever, give you some bonus stuff and try and win that business back. You get a call a week after signing a contract. They're like, you know what, we're going back with vendor A. They've had their problems, but I think they've patched them up and we're going to be fine and stick with them. Right? That's a post-sale deal falling apart. So what the whole point of this post-sale section is to help prepare them ahead of time for those feelings and those, the incumbent vendor and whatnot. So what I wrote down here is, normally when a company is making a change like this, they feel uncertain about their choice. normal for people to feel that way. A current vendor will come back and make promises and they choose the devil they know over the devil they don't. Do you foresee any issue that might make you regret choosing us? And they might say something like, yeah, you're right. This does make me feel kind of nervous. We've only talked 3 or 4 times together on the phone, and this is a pretty consequential decision for my company. Yeah, thanks for saying that. So you're kind of preparing them ahead of time for those feelings and to kind of help steel their resolve a little bit. What else would you add to that post-sale piece, Padre?
Well, just that this is psychology. It does not make sense to us. It's very difficult to do, but it does work. I don't do it all the time, just because I just don't do it, but if you've just gotten someone to say yes, some owner says, yes, darn it, let's do it, I'm good to go, and you walk out the door and high five, like Jack says, everyone has buyer's remorse. Did I pay too much? Do I have time to do this? Is there a better thing out there? So what this program teaches you to do is address that right then when you have them and say something like, Colton, one last question. Are you sure you want to do this? And he's going to say, yes, I'm sure. Why do you ask that? Well, in our experience, people have remorse and their team wants to do something different. And you're going to say, no. And so you almost tell them what's going to happen. Like the team will say they want to do something different, or they'll be buying another company. All these things get in the way. And so when they address them and say, no, I'm going to do this no matter what at that moment, then you have much less likely, it's much less likely they're going to bug out on you. And so that's why, and it doesn't have to be dramatic. You can just say, hey, you sure you want to do this? This is the kind of stuff we see sometimes. And, in the history of sales, I'm not sure anyone at that moment has ever said, oh, you know what? Come to think of it, no, I don't want to do it. They don't do that. So anyway, I think it's the least important part of the stuff. I don't always do it, but we should definitely practice it.
Yeah, I don't do it all the time either, but I've said something like, let's pretend it's 6 months from now, you signed up with us and it's been a complete disaster. What would have to be true for that to be the case? And that they're going to tell you the things that they're worried about, right? Like, well, we signed up with you and then our old vendor came back and offered the same service for half, right? So we're getting raked over the coals. Or it turns out that you don't solve the problem that we were trying to solve in the first place, or whatever their concern is, or implementation required a lot more work on our end than we thought. So you're kind of like, you're always trying to get ahead of the curve of whatever's coming next. And so if there is a fear or a concern in their mind and you don't know about it, you get off the call, that's just less information that you have to navigate. But if you know what they're worried about, what makes them tick, it's a good time to ask for that and get it, so you can say, get ahead of it proactively. And then the last thing here, and like I said, we'll do a whole probably day on this come January, but asking for referrals. Our business today is mostly driven by referrals, right? I'm asking for referrals, and that's who I'm calling. I'm calling people that have been referred to me by contacts that I've already made and built trust with. So those are much more, I won't say easier, but the conversation's different, right? If I'm calling Colton and Colton's never met me and we don't have anybody we know or share in common, Colton's maximum defensive, right? He's, but if Colton's like, if I say, hey, Colton, we haven't met, but Ivan, our mutual contact referred me to you, said you might have some business issues I might be able to help you with. Could I take 2 minutes to explain myself? Colton be like, yeah, sure. I know Ivan. I like Ivan. He's a good guy. We've done some good work together in the past. That is a huge trust, wind at my back versus a headwind about you don't know this guy from the man on the moon. So referrals are golden. It's been referred to as the golden referral chain. So if you can get people that you've been referred to refer you to other people, it just keeps paying forward, and you can keep having these great conversations and avoid, completely cold prospecting, which doesn't matter what you're selling. It's a low close rate. So we'll do a whole nother day on referrals, but this is a great time, whether they agreed to what you want to sell or not, to say, hey, great, now that we've got this done, we've got our next step established, or you've said, no, thank you. Everybody else you know that you think would benefit from working with us? And if so, would you be willing to provide either their information or a warm introduction? That is hard to do. I don't do it as much as I should. I'm trying to make it more of a part of our system. But it is the wins that I've had in 5 years have almost all been from referrals. Very rarely found somebody out in nature who, you know, didn't know a thing about me who ended up buying from me. So referrals are powerful. All right, well, we are past our time. I'm sure Brenna's in here lurking, just tapping her fingers. There she is. Cool. Well, you guys, we'll talk to you tomorrow. We will.
Tomorrow's Friday. We're off tomorrow.
Off tomorrow. Okay, so we'll talk to you on the 2nd of January. Hope everybody has a happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, happy whatever else you guys celebrate, and we will talk to you in the new year.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays, guys.
See ya.